Welcome back to Phantom Frequencies, everybody.
Good morning.
Today, we are reading My Brother Died When I Was a Child. He Kept Talking. I think people should know what he said.
My brother died
from...
when I was a child, and he kept talking. Perfect. I forgot the name of the story. Is this on creepypasta.com?
I'm on creepypasta.fandom.com.
.fandom.com. Perfect.
So that has the Creative Commons attribution on it, and I'm rolling with that unless we hear otherwise.
Oh, let me see here.
This is by Emperor's Finest. That's the Emperor. It's spelled funny. And this is from 2015.
Okay, very good.
I tried to find if he's got other work he's kept going since then. I haven't seen a story since 10 years ago.
Okay, so this is an oldie.
But he's still very active on Reddit on politics defending Palestine and Ukraine.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Sick.
Did you say...
I mean, arguing on Reddit isn't super noble, but like...
Okay.
Hell yeah, dude.
Did you say that he wrote a couple other stories, or is this the only...
Yes.
This is the... Okay, so there were a couple others.
He's got another one that's really popular called My Best Friend Never Happened.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't on Creepypasta Wiki, though, and so there's no Creative Commons attribution. So probably can't touch that one.
You can't read it off of Reddit?
I mean, unless we get permission.
Oh, fair.
There are a couple of others. I'll look into it, maybe coming back
I don't know how
at
any of
some
that shit
point.
works, to be honest.
He's got like a sci-fi story on there, too.
I do like me some sci-fi. Yes, I do.
Like, not even sci-fi horror, like sci-fi drama.
All right. Yeah, I know this one is... I listened to this one a long fucking time ago. It would have been 2016, I believe. It was around the time I was working at a vegan cafe.
Yeah, smelly.
And I don't know if I listened to it and told you to listen to it because I thought it was really good, because I know you were listening to stuff around the same time as me.
Yeah. I remember we listened to it together, and I fell asleep on the floor. And I don't know if I ever finished the story.
I must have shown it to you then. Yeah, this
one... It will
one...
be interesting to see what things come out. I only remember the very broad premise and nothing else from the story.
I don't remember anything specific whatsoever. I just remember the longer I listened to it, the more I was like, oh, this is kind of fucked up, actually. Until
I'm really
the
curious
climax.
if it holds up.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Do you want... I think one of us should do the, like... I think one of us should do the author character.
Jesus Christ.
And I think one of us should do the other characters, including the dead brother. What do you want to take?
Let me... Wait, you're saying one person does protagonist, the other person does the other voices?
Yeah, because there's not a ton. I guess the other brother talks a lot, but it looks pretty 50-50 split.
I don't mind doing the other voices. I'm fine with that.
Now, I'll kick us off right here.
All right. Let's...
Spooky music begin.
Let's peep this out.
We'd all known Dennis...
All right, take two.
God,
it's been a couple months, actually. Yeah, it's been.
I forget to read
since we've read our last story. I think we recorded the first one in November. So
yeah,
it's been a minute.
We'd all known Dennis had less than a week, and we'd all braced ourselves for all the good that it would do. This was going to tear us apart and leave a ragged, gaping hole in all of our lives. But that would be it. Oh god, I zoomed in. It fucked up the formatting. It would fit within our understanding of things, and we could all assume he went wherever we thought people go. That would have been so much easier, so much less troubling than what actually happened. Dennis had been diagnosed with cancer a couple of days after his 10th birthday, and it was all downhill from there. There was never an upswing, never an opportunity for surgery. All the scans showed the same thing, the oily black webs having grown larger and denser.
Ugh.
Oof.
Jesus.
The fact that we were twins and had looked identical right up to when he started chemo just made it worse. There I was, right beside him, a perfect image of what he used to be before his hair fell out and his color drained and his cheeks sunk down into his skull. An emaciated ghost constantly contrasted with what he should be. God, that is fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I'm immediately in. I remember liking this concept, but I don't remember the writing quality in the slightest. So
Yeah, it's good so far,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see. And then finally the doctor shut the case, snuffed out the last wisps of hope. Doctor?
Dennis will most likely not last more than 4 days. A week at most.
So we'd all set up camp in his musty room at the hospital. The walls were freckled and pea green, the only light slanted in from between the shutters, glaring bars stretching out across the floor to end just short of Dennis's bed. The staff managed to bring in another, simpler bed for me, and my parents slept in the old wicker chairs. Dennis looked really bad at this stage. You could as good as see his skull. We all wanted to talk to him, to make the most of whatever time was left, but he slept for most of the day, and when he woke up, there'd just be silence. Nobody knew what to say. There were no right words, and there was this underlying fear that the moment anybody interacted with the situation, they'd somehow make it real, and it would hit everyone. The first sound would knock us all off the tightrope, and we'd fall into tears and chaos, and we wouldn't be able to pull ourselves back up. So there was silence, my parents occasionally forcing smiles that never made it to their eyes. The third day was when it finally happened, when the steady beeping of the heart monitor started to break down into frantic electronic wails, and Dennis began to shake feebly as a dry, crackling sound rose up from his mouth. My parents exploded out of their chairs, my mother heading straight to Dennis, grabbing his shoulders and pleading at him to stop it and be alright. My father was at the room door, screaming down the hallways for help. The doctors and nurses at the hospital had changed lately. They'd started treating Dennis differently. Before the resuscitations were always these frantic, desperate efforts, like 100-meter sprints. There was a desperate desire to succeed in every single moment. Damn it. There was a desperate desire to succeed in every single movement. Now it was different, more like a steady jog. These were people who were going through the motions, ticking off things they were meant to try from little checklists in their minds.
Hello? Why the fuck are they resuscitating him over and over again? What the?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? Just let the poor kid go. He's terminal. There's no point in that.
That's probably what causes all
Good
this
God.
shit.
All right. Sorry, I just had to.
Dennis,
fucking,
no!
Please. Yeah, the cracking voice. Bring it back. Just do it. They're like, the fucking. What does it say? The nurses were hesitating. It's because they don't want to fucking do it anymore, man.
Hey, just blank face going through the motions like, shit.
Yeah,
Again.
It's because the mom was like threatening
You only
their
get
jobs.
10 resuscitations. Come on, man.
Dennis loved cats. He gets 9 lives too. The nurses are like, oh my god, this family's unhinged. Anyway, sorry, continue.
We all inched closer up to the side of his bed and just looked. My mother cracked, breaking into great howling tears. My father pulled her close, trying
like
to keep
imagining
it together,
them
but losing it in his own way.
Like in a fucking cartoon, like Tom and Jerry or something, their heads just rise up over the edge of the bed. The dad's like, Dennis, did it work?
Are you okay, Dennis?
Mom's like, touch his face, poke him. I don't want to. He might be dead. But ew, gross.
I don't want to touch him. That's gross.
I don't.
Ew.
I just got my nails done.
No sobs from him, just the occasional tear running down his face and the sharp breaths bursting through his clenched teeth. Now I feel bad joking.
This is fictional. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right.
I say as if it doesn't happen like to hundreds of thousands of families every day.
I was just quietly staring at Dennis's face. We all stood there for a long time. I finally realized that this wasn't just one thing. This wasn't a single event. For the first time, my mind started running away with itself and unfolding all the endless implications of this. Every one of them causing my gut to sink and for me to miss him so much, even though he'd just been here. I was never going to talk to him again. He was never going to laugh at me again. We were never eating dinner again. We were never going to school together again. We were never going to be in the same class in school again, or talk during classes at school again. It just kept going and going, as I realized that this wasn't just one person I'd lost. I'd lost a million things. Something that was meant to be this constant presence was gone, and nothing would ever be as good as it should be again. Everything I was going to do would be soured by the certainty that I wouldn't be doing it with him, or that I wouldn't be able to tell him about it later. It had only ever been a childish assumption that any of that would happen. I was the first to see his lips quiver. "Mom, Dad, his lips are moving." My parents froze, still clasped against each other. My mother curled over and supported by my father. We looked down as his lips continued to quiver. My parents went quiet again. They must have been trying to hold back hope, assuming it was some kind of nervous tic. But it kept going, and finally, in a dusty, hoarse voice, so faint it was like you were hearing it on the wind, he said my name.
Harry.
Can you speak up, son?
Harry.
Well, you can't hear it on Discord, but
My father sprinted across the room, yelling for the nurses to come back. My mother was clutching her mouth and stumbling back from the bed. The workers tumbled back and went through the checklist and shocked him with the defibrillators a few times and reached their verdict.
we're sorry. He's still dead. What?
Damn.
The fuck kind of response is that? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you heard, but his heart ain't beating. He didn't talk. But I heard him talk,
said my father in a small, pleading voice.
Look, it could have been gas escaping. These are the most dismissive, medical care team ever. But
said my father before a tiny scraping sound cut through the room, everyone turning towards its source. It was coming from Dennis, halfway between a sigh and a croak.
Harry. It's all so dark. So cold. So dark. And it's pulling down. Pulling at my insides and taking me down.
You sound like the terminal kid from that Key and
that's
Peele
exactly
sketch.
what I'm basing that off of.
Marion
Glass.
I wish to be in your mouths.
A moment later, nurses started on their rounds again, but this wasn't some perfunctory run through the checklist. You could see it on their faces, and how hurried their movements were. They didn't know what was happening. They weren't even sure they were doing the right thing. They moved onto the defibrillator again, sending crashing waves of power down through Dennis's chest before listening with a stethoscope.
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
One was mumbling. After 10 minutes, they all just stepped back. They'd run the checklist out, and nothing had happened.
What's happening?
My mother screamed. One of the men, a doctor, I think, answered.
Nothing is happening. We try and pump in oxygen, and it does nothing. There's no pulse, and we can't induce one for more than a second or two. The body temperature is down 3 degrees. He's deceased.
But we heard him, I said.
I know, but he's dead.
The dry grating came again, and everyone shut up.
Please. Harry. Where are you?
That's kind of translating to the old woman territory.
I walked over to his side. I wasn't relieved he was talking. I was only afraid. This was wrong. I wanted to run. I wanted him to just be gone so I could cry with my parents and be done with it, but I kept walking and put my hand on his bony, cold, and clearly dead hand. How is it clearly dead? I mean, it's cold.
It's emaciated and translucent.
It's only 3 degrees,
It's
though.
cold. I don't know. You'd know it when you see it.
I'm here, I said.
I can see gray.
Here's monologue time.
A little bit of gray, but it's so far away. I don't just see it. I feel it. I feel it, and I never knew something could be so far away. I'm already so far down, but I need to go so much further to get to the gray.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know how to respond, so I just stood there and listened to him talk about the darkness and the distant gray smudge. Sometimes he'd answer me, sometimes he wouldn't. A lot of stuff happened around me in the next few hours. Everyone who worked at the hospital must have been in and out. Even my parents started to leave sometimes when they accepted that I was the only one Dennis seemed to be aware of. Dennis was looked at by every type of doctor they had in there, and nobody understood. They started moving him around on a stretcher, taking him to the equipment they couldn't just bring to him. I had to come along. I was the only one who could keep him talking. Sorry. Every kind of doctor? They'll like get a proctologist, a butthole doctor up in there to check him out?
They're for a medical
seems
anomaly
extreme.
like this, they're not pulling their fucking punches. Absolutely.
Maybe his butthole's
Yeah,
still
they're
alive.
getting whoever they can, or just it just happens to be whoever's on their like lunch break or something. Just
Hey,
be
come
like-
check out this kid.
Like-
The mom scream crying in the corner.
I'm a gynecologist, but I'll see what I can do.
Let me see this kid's cooter.
Yeah, does it? Yeah. This is the line I had to come along. I was the only one who could keep him talking. It's maybe a bit of a reach, but the fact that they're twins is super interesting.
I think that's on purpose. Yeah,
I listened
the
to
twin connection thing.
A Rotten Mango recently because I love listening to a lot of the true crimes, even though some are pretty graphic. But there was one about these twins, and one of them tried to have the other one killed so that she could assume her life
yeah.
and like personality and like
I've
status
heard
and
that
shit.
story.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that podcast is she always gives like a lot of context. So she went on this long tangent about like the science behind twins and how there are a lot of unexplained connections between twins that just don't make sense in the slightest. For example, there was a study done, and let me look this up so that I don't sound like an asshole trying to just like regurgitate shit wrong. Yeah, here we go. Study about identical twins separated at birth. It was a Minnesota study of twins reared apart, where they took 81 pairs of identical twins, tested them on all of their personality and intelligence and shit. And what does it say? Basically, what the findings were is that like twins who were separated at birth and reunited later, or like never reunited at all, basically said that there was like this lifelong longing, or like they felt like they had like a missing piece of themselves. Like they always kind of like knew that there was something like someone out there like that, even though they didn't know that they had a twin, which is like super interesting.
I mean, they were in the womb together.
And then shit like identical twins
Something
raised in
deep in there.
entirely different households were often found to have nearly identical personality traits, IQ test results, and mannerisms.
Yeah.
Which, you know, the whole conversation between like you are your environment, or like what percentage of you is made up by your environment, it's that kind of, you know, throws some interesting
There's
stuff in
something
there.
weird there with twins, yeah.
In the
It's a thing.
60s, a secretive and
I
highly
don't
controversial
understand it.
study was orchestrated by the Louis Wise Service Adoption Agency under the direction of psychiatrist Peter Neuboer. Researchers deliberately split up infant twins and triplets, placing them in separate homes. And the findings is what I said earlier, where they were like, I always knew that I had a twin secretly, even though they never knew. Anyway, it's just interesting.
Twins know shit. It was a long time before anything was turned up. They'd gotten desperate and had put Dennis in an fMRI machine.
What the fuck is that?
They'd fully prepped a corpse and put it in a machine for the living. My entire family was in the room. A cold, confused fear had settled in my gut, making me feel a little bit like throwing up.
I think we've got something.
Said the technician who was looking at the monitors.
Please,
Just tell us what's happening.
Said my mother. She'd moved past terror and hope and was now above all else exhausted. Her red face slack and empty.
Look, this scan looks for where the blood is in the brain. Well, the thing is, none of that blood in the brain is moving. We know that from his pulse, but something is happening in there. Something the machine can only pick up a little. But there's some kind of activity. I can't be sure, but I think the activity is clustered around some parts that control movement. Everything else is totally dead. He's obviously conscious. He's using complete sentences, but what? But it's like whatever's doing the thinking is somewhere else, still interacting with the stuff that does the talking. That's exactly right.
Came a voice behind us. I looked over my shoulder and saw an old man in a gray business suit. He had a well-trimmed silver beard and was all around a strange contrast to the clumsy chaos that had engulfed the hospital. I'm getting nervous about the story now.
What the fuck?
Don't remember that.
Who are you?
Great question.
I'm
said the
Daniel
technician.
Combs.
He said, handing the technician a crisp business card.
I'm with the Orpheus Institute. We're a semi-private medical research body, and I've dealt with a few cases similar to this one. The hospital president? Is that what they call them? Has already agreed to let us look into that? The hospital president? I don't know if they would say the hospital president. Oh, him? He's the hospital president. You better show him some respect.
Yeah, I think that's a fine way to say it. He's trying to be old-fashioned, I think. I'm more nervous about the story as he talks, though.
I know.
But
yeah,
I'll give it a sec.
Yeah, we're hitting that second act Men in Black moment.
It's the Orpheus Institute is just so on the nose.
Well, someone has to exist to explain what's going on.
Do they?
No,
that's the thing.
Absolutely not. I'm just saying this is I can immediately sniff out the logic behind this. I can fucking smell the shit that was cooking and eventually taken and reformed into Daniel Combs. Unless he's cool, he might be. Let's keep going.
Or he could be a child predator, like every good creepypasta needs.
R/no sleep moment. This is the fuck. What's his name? Not Tommy Taffy. I always get Tommy Taffy and Tiki Toby confused.
Oh yeah. Have you listened to that story?
Yeah, I love that story.
It's. I'm scared about that movie. Who was it that's the third parent movie?
I know that movie...
Who was it that was attached to it?
I know that movie has been greenlit for a while.
All right, Crispin Glover is going to be Tommy Taffy, which is...
Although that name sounds familiar. Crispin Glover.
He's a freak. He'd make a good Tommy
fucked.
Taffy.
Yeah. When you search Crispin Glover, Tommy Taffy is one of the first things that pops up. Oh, dude, he's going to be great.
I love him in Willard.
He looks kind of like
which is a fantastic.
He looks like a ventriloquist dummy version of Woody Harrelson. And he's definitely had work done.
It's like Slappy the Dummy combo.
There's a Reddit post that says Saw watching epic movie, and I can see why they chose Crispin Glover to play Tommy Taffy, and it's a picture of Crispin Glover's face photoshopped over Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka.
He definitely has had some work done. He does not look like he used to quite.
Perhaps
but
maybe
he always looked weird.
I don't want to be the one to maybe potentially say something that could be highlighted as offensive, but I have to hypothetically wonder if maybe perhaps he might have been cast because
he looks like plastic.
His face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's
Wait a minute.
Part of it
Is Crispin Glover the guy from? There's no way. He's not? Oh, I'm thinking of Rob Lowe. Okay, I just saw a picture of them side by side, and they look similar enough that I was like, was that?
He looks like he's tried to turn himself into Rob Lowe.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Back to the story.
Back to Daniel Combs.
It's creepypasta news. We gotta talk about it in the podcast. Almost invisibly, a number of men had moved in behind Cohen.
I don't like this.
And were now making their way over to the technician.
These men will help explain the confidentiality situation surrounding issues like this. We'll handle the boy from here.
The boy?
The boy.
More men, these ones in pure white scrubs that had a strange logo on the left breast, got Dennis back on the stretcher and led us all into the hallway.
SCP.
We followed wordlessly. That would be kind of fun. We followed wordlessly, never thinking to say anything, because at least these new people represented new possibilities. A completely new road that might lead to an explanation. They rolled Dennis into an operating theater, and my mother gasped.
Look, just what are you doing?
I thought that was the mom talking.
I
Said my father in a husky voice that made it obvious he was still holding in tears. Cohen's, who had been striding ahead of the stretcher with a speed that belied his age, had stopped once we got to the theater, and was now taking deliberate care to look us all three of us in the eyes at the same time.
His,
We were still in the hallway, the operating theater door shut beside us. He answered in a low, comfortable tone.
We're not performing surgery. It's just the quietest part of the hospital. And there's no distractions in there. We want nothing more than to understand what has happened to your son. This sort of thing has happened before. Your son is conscious, and, as we understand, he will only talk to his brother here. There's that twin connection again. We want to use Harry to ask Dennis our questions. We believe this would work best if he and Harry were alone. We've got the theater wired so we can hear the answers.
My parents didn't say anything for a while.
Oh, fuck.
My father broke the silence with weak, staggered words.
Okay, I'm back in it again. The concept of having to sit with your dying sibling in the dark in a room by yourself, or your dead sibling that can talk.
Yeah, but they could have gotten there without this super scientist.
I feel like
figure,
the
but
hospital.
it might work out. I'm gonna need some things.
I feel like it's enough of an anomaly that the hospital and like the doctors could have just done it on its own, like made that decision.
Yeah,
on its own,
exactly.
like to record
It's just
this,
been like,
because,
let's just leave them alone and record.
I feel
this.
yeah. I feel like any individual or collection of individuals in any science field would witness this and be like, we need this. We need the world to know. But whatever.
I think more than anything, for the scope of this story so far and what it's set up, it feels a lot more interesting without the, oh, this has happened before.
Yeah.
I think that kind of is what rubs me the wrong way so far. But I mean, if it does something with it being a broader, like, institution that's interesting, then that's fine. But it doesn't feel like that's been the trajectory so far.
Right.
But my father broke the silence with weak, staggered words.
Do you think he might, or do you think he might come back?
Damn, Dad.
I know that even if he does, it won't be for long, but I'd really like him back for however long. I didn't say enough. I wasn't big enough to say the things we had to say to each other. If such a thing is possible, I swear we will do everything in our power to make it happen. We've prepared a private waiting room for you two.
Cohen's gestured down to the turn in the hallway.
The turned
There were
hallway.
two people in the white scrub. There were two people in the white scrub standing there.
The white scrubs.
Oh, the white scrubs with the logo.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Pete and Shirley will lead you to there. If you would please go with them.
My parents began to shuffle down the corridor, my mother still buried in my father's side. My father kept throwing looks back over his shoulder at me like he was afraid I'd vanish. Soon they were gone, and I felt Cohen's hand come down on my shoulder. I turned around to him, and he knelt down so we were closer to being level.
I know this is very hard on you. I know this must be the worst day of your life. But do you think you're up to a quick history lesson? Oh, God.
Exposition dump. I couldn't bring myself to answer properly, but some curiosity managed to rise through the delirium and shock, and I nodded. Cohen smiled.
Yeah. One of the most significant moments of human history was the moon landing. And it's giving the fucking, like, Michael Scott walking over to the window and being like, oh, the city. It's not even the fact itself that makes it so important. It's the fact that we had contact with them the whole time they were up there. They were sending radio signals back to Earth and could be talked to. Do you think the moon landing would be what it was if we didn't have that kind of connection to our men as they strode the unsettling and inhospitable surface of a place we were never meant to have knowledge of? What if they had just gone up and never came back? What if? I don't know why I saw if as a comma. What if they'd just gone up and never came back? What if we knew for sure that they got there and had no signals from them? He fucking takes a drag from a cigarette. The kid's like, where?
I don't think you could smoke in here.
I don't think you should do that.
There's a woman on oxygen right next to you.
Oh, is there? I didn't
Smoke in her
notice.
face.
Yeah, he flicks the cigarette and dumps the ashes on her forehead.
Death is
He
just the beginning.
puts it out on Dennis's fucking face. Just fucking.
I was still quite out of it from the cigarette burns, so I
where
can't
was I?
say I was properly digesting all of this. I slurred out, I don't know.
See, even the fucking protagonist hates this. They didn't know if they could get the astronauts back. It was a very real possibility that they'd be left to die up there stranded. Yet they still did it. It didn't matter if the mission was a failure. It didn't matter if there was no triumphant return. Do you know what mattered? What mattered more than anything was speaking to them while they were up there. To have that connection to three brave men in the void, describing man's first steps into the unknown. If they'd never come back, it wouldn't have changed anything. As long as we down here managed to make that connection to the beyond, as long as we down here for however long had men up there, men to describe, this is making me stupid, men to describe the soil, men to explain the feeling of being so light, men to tell us what the earth looked like, cut in half by the lunar horizon, men to teach us about a new world. Ugh.
Come on, you gotta keep up with the voice.
Ugh. God.
His hand tightened on my shoulder.
It's literally the like you can tell he was just feeling his fucking nutsack one day and was like, I need to show how eloquently I can write. It's like, no one is going to talk to a fucking kid like this. I mean, obviously, we don't know how old Harry is, but anyway, it's just.
I assumed he's like 15, but that's probably just because that's roughly how old I was when I heard it.
I know I know your brother's dead and everything, and that just happened, but let's talk about the moon landing and what it means and how it compares to your current situation and how they're basically the same thing.
His hand tightened on my shoulder.
Oh, God. None of that would have been possible without the people in Houston. Without the men who talked to the astronauts, kept them focused, made sure we got the information we needed. Harry, you are an astronaut. We are sending you to the moon. We believe...
Do you understand
Do
the importance of your assignment?
We believe Dennis is in a very strange place that humanity would do well not to learn about. You are Houston.
And Neil Armstrong is still up there.
You are
You
Houston.
have to go get him.
I need you to fetch someone for me up there. Your brother is an astronaut. Oh my God, he said it! You are Houston. Your brother is Neil Armstrong.
That's a crazy pull.
That is crazy.
He pulled a laminated sheet out from under his lapel.
Here's a sheet with some topics you should focus on and questions you should ask. This should help you get the most useful and needed information. But the most
None of that
important thing
feelings shit, you hear?
is to keep him talking. Stop talking for 5 seconds, and you could lose him.
I accepted the card, having given up on reaching a decent understanding of the situation. How did the moon landing relate?
Didn't understand a fucking thing that guy said. I fucking knew it.
He ushered me into the operating theater and shut the door behind me. I was alone, the only sound an almost inaudible ringing that emanated from the massive stainless steel racks and implements and the cold, sturdy operating table Dennis was lying on. I approached the table, and in need of any sort of guidance, I looked at the laminated sheet. General principles. Try to keep your loved one / the subject unaware of their deceased state. Past experience suggests that the shock may cause disconnection. Maintain constant conversation, as this has been shown to help maintain the connection. Do not ask leading questions such as whether your loved one / the subject is having experiences in line with your own religious beliefs. First step, ask your loved one / the subject to describe their experiences and or surroundings. Encourage them to be as... A gasp pulled my attention away from the seat.
Harry.
Yes, it's me, I answered, grabbing his hand. There was now no doubt that he really was dead. The hand was ice cold, and the fingers had locked in place, at odd angles with rigor mortis. His entire body had gone from the sickly white of the dying to the rain cloud shade of the dead.
I got to the gray, to the ground. Came down easy like a leaf. Cold. I'm standing there now.
I'm so mad. Once he puts down the sheet and everything's dealing with that fucking old dude. I love all this.
That's what I'm saying. I had that exact same thought where I was like, how can these two pieces of the story just contrast so fucking hard from each other?
Like literally just erase and you're set. Nothing needs added.
No, not at all. And like the whole like, I get what he was doing with this general principles, like reading the guidelines shit, but like
that's kind of cool, but still
that's formatted better for like an analog series as like a PSA. You don't have to
it's not the
read what
vibe.
he's reading. Just it would be fine if it was just a fucking like notepad that Cones just wrote questions down on. I think in fact that would be even cool. See, here's the thing, just real quick. If the doctors had done it or made the decision to do this in the start, it would have been cool if they handed him just like a fucking desperate notepad of like questions scrolling together. I think
would have been
it would
great.
be even cooler. Like you could make like the main doctor who like pronounced his death a character who's like got his own shit, or like you don't have to go super into detail with it, but he kind of like loses his mind a little bit watching this unfold, because who wouldn't, right? Like,
right, you could still kind of have that character, but the fact that they know what's going on is what's...
Yeah.
Like, the way it says, ask your loved one / the subject, feels like it's beating me over the head with the fact, like, this has happened before.
Exactly.
See, they've seen this before. They know what's happening.
The fact that it's happened before.
And that sucks!
Yeah, the fact that it's happened before, and you have these people who know... like what they're doing immediately kind of takes the wind out of the sails for me, because I like the fact that this is completely foreign and unnatural is what makes this story so good. So anyway, I'm still hooked. Like I'm loving this like
that's the things I'm loving
imagery and stuff, but like
a lot of it.
Cones is really a fucking piece of shit shoehorn. Anyway,
Dennis, can you describe where you are?
It's still gray, but more real now. Solid. Gray sand underneath. Gray ocean behind me. Gray clouds above. Don't remember going through the clouds, but they're there now. The clouds, they're screaming.
An ocean? I said. Yeah, that's the thing to ask about.
yeah.
Not the clouds screaming. Can you see anything in the ocean?
God, I miss the beach. It's like what he's thinking. Oh,
Dennis took
Dennis,
in a
can you go for a
pointless
swim real
breath.
quick? Cool off, man.
The beach looks the most like the moon. I need to learn about that.
Far away. The horizon. It gets dark. Dark, hungry line where even clouds stop. Where everything stops. Darkness is clawing. Moving like it's alive. Miles and miles of angry, hungry dark. Can't go there. Can't go that way.
At this point, I lost the thread of the exchange as perspective suddenly hit, all the things I didn't understand, and the fact that whatever Dennis was, he wasn't alive. I broke, crying and wailing, digging my face into his bare, emaciated ribs, cold like meat straight out of the fridge. I kept squeezing his hand, harder and harder, pushing the stiff fingers closer together. Dennis, please come back to me.
Shit.
Sorry, I messed up the line. Dennis, please come back. Please, wherever you are, just get back here.
Harry. Harry. Are you crying? It's hard to tell. So much here already sounds like crying.
That's dramatic, but I kind of love that line.
That gave me, yeah, that gave me goosebumps, like reading ahead a little bit.
His words struck me deep enough to make my sobs catch in my throat, and I just started looking at him again, settling back to my previous catatonic distance from what was happening.
I can't come back. No getting back. Like spilling something on the ground. No getting it all back inside and right again.
It took a few seconds to force myself to accept this, but I carried on, hoping that maybe I could steer him towards some sign that he was wrong. What's in the other direction, away from the ocean?
That's the way I have to go. If I try and swim, the darkness will tear me up, shred away everything until only my pain is left, and it'll toss that into the clouds, and I'll scream.
Dennis, tell me what's in the other direction.
Just the sand, the gray sand, on and on. Not many bad things yet. Not many bad things to see yet. There will be more when I get where I'm going. I'm going to start walking now, Harry.
Where are you meant to be going? I'd started digging my nails anxiously into my forearm. There was something nauseatingly, dreadfully true about everything he was saying. It was like the first time you learn the world is round, and it feels weird for a few seconds, but soon you get used to the idea and you see it's the truth. That's the biggest secret, and it doesn't matter how flat the ground feels. It doesn't matter how little sense it makes. It's true. And he just kept talking.
I can see another person.
Can you talk to them? I said, trying to keep my voice steady, feeling like I shouldn't be the one who couldn't keep it together.
I've got this like visual in my head that's really cool, of like Dennis's like, since he's like in rigor mortis, I like imagining his mouth, like when he speaks in Chen, it's just like quivering and shaking violently whenever he talks to like just like force out what he's saying, and it's creepy as fuck.
Harry's holding his like twisted up rigor mortis hand that's
Yeah.
completely unmoving.
Yeah,
It is
it's
horrifying.
very cool visuals.
I suppose I could, but I can't.
What do you mean?
It's not. It's just not a talking kind of place. We were supposed to have done all our talking before we came here. Now we should just keep quiet.
But you're talking to me, Dennis.
But my voice isn't here. My voice is all the way up there with you.
So he's down.
Oh.
Hell?
Yeah, that's fucked.
Dennis, I said, now squeezing my eyes to force the tears back in.
I'd say nope.
Dennis, please tell me what's happening.
I would say at that point, I would say good fucking luck, and I would walk straight out of there. I don't need any more of that.
think I finally died. And what's happening now is what happens next. The thing that was always going to be happen next. It feels right in a scary way. It's been expecting me for so long, since before I was even a fuzzy little thing that might happen, since before our parents and their parents, and so far back it's been expecting me.
Make sure to keep your volume up a little bit more.
You can't hear me, but the microphone can.
But it's going to be harder to compress if you're too
fair.
quiet.
Here, I'll turn
Because
crisp
it'll
off.
bring up the noise with it.
I can't turn crisp off. Fuck.
Just a little more volume. Just a little.
All right.
Please stop talking like that. You don't talk like that. You never have.
Okay, I guess I'll just shut the fuck up then.
Harry! I mean, Dennis, no!
They just get into
Cross his arms
sword
now.
fight, yeah.
His rigor mortis ass hands.
Sorry. You just sort of see things different here. Some things you know without ever being told. Some things you forget.
I couldn't think of anything to say and started to worry, remembering that if I left pauses too long, he could stop answering.
Hey,
Said Dennis, and the edges of his mouth strained out, awkwardly imitating a smile.
I see a few more people, and they're all naked, but really naked. Their clothes are off, and they're all gray and wrinkly, but that's not it. You can kind of see inside them, like all the walls have fallen down, and you can see who they are. All their thoughts and feelings, just kind of hanging around them like ghosts. It's like someone's pulled the clothes off of their whole past. They're so naked, Harry.
He made a light coughing sound that was meant to be a laugh. That's really scary.
Oh, I thought you might have thought it was funny.
I don't think we're gonna laugh at the same stuff anymore. I think you're different now.
I guess that makes sense.
So, what are all the people doing?
Most of them are moving same direction as me, towards the center.
The center of what?
It's just called the center. The center of this place. Maybe the center of everything.
But what? I said, starting to lose control. Why do you have to go?
I don't have to. Nobody has to. Just like you don't have to shake someone's hand when they pull it out, or answer them when they talk to you. But it would feel wrong not to do. Not to. It's what you're meant to do, and there's not any other good options. You don't want to stand still.
What happens when you stand still?
Depends. A few days ago, I passed this woman.
A few days? I said, gripping the cold steel of the operating table as I was filled with an eerie sense of vertigo. You haven't been dead for even a day.
I passed her a few days ago.
He said, carrying on like he hadn't heard me.
She didn't reach the center. She just sat down, started going her own way. She's pulled one side of her rib cage out, and it's all stretched, spreading up to her left so high, stretching out the arm, grabbing its corner. Most of her skin started to get hard and flaky, like old wood or crumbling stone. I can see herself. Musician, liked music, kind of thought of her life like a song. Sometimes it repeated itself, some bad notes here and there, but it was pulling itself together. She was reaching the chorus and it ended. It was over so fast, and she can't accept it. She's picked this sharp rock off the ground, and she's scraping it past her ribs like a huge heart or something angry. Trying to make music, keep the song going, but it's an awful sound. Sawing bone, and it's never going to replace what should have come next. She's already grown into the ground. She's going to be here forever, trying to make the music she missed out on.
There was nothing to say to that, so I just went quiet for a while, assuming he'd keep talking. That was pretty cool.
It was, yeah. It reminds me a lot of the Hollows in Dark Souls 3, growing into trees.
Did you ever read The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis?
I started it, but I don't think I ever finished it. That's the one with the subway, right?
Was it a subway? I think it was just a train, but
Yeah, train.
it's reminding me of like a horror take on that. 'Cause there's this whole thing of like, it's a depiction of the afterlife in a really unique and creative way that I think is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
But when the main character like exits purgatory and starts heading towards heaven, there's this like long stretch of grass in a field that you have to cross.
Yeah.
And the closer you get, the more like soft you become, and the grass blades start to sink into you, and it hurts. But it's sort of like something you have to just let go of and accept in order to get through it. Really cool, but it's putting me in the same kind of mind of that. I highly recommend reading that story.
Is really cool.
It's not super long.
Super cool.
So I just went quiet for a while, assuming he'd keep talking. He didn't. Dennis? Dennis? No answer. A terrified jolt ran through me, and I started slamming my fist onto his chest. Dennis! Come back, Dennis! A growl tore out of his mouth, and his frame thrashed upwards, causing me to jump back and tumble down onto the floor, smashing into surgeon's shelves and causing gleaming surgical instruments to rain down around me. I didn't have time to think before I'd forced myself up again and bent over the operating table to stare desperately into my brother's eyes. I took his hand again, squeezing it as hard as I could.
Harry,
He said, and relief flooded through me.
it's been so long. So long. It's been years.
What?
I've been walking for years. Years and years, and it keeps getting worse.
It hasn't been a day.
It's been so many years, and everything keeps getting worse.
What's worse?
It gets worse closer to the center. There's so many people now. Thousands. Tens of thousands. And they're all walking to the center.
But what's so terrible?
There's more. So many more, like the girl with the harp I told you about. Stuck in place, trying to fix what happened. Angry about what happened. Rooted to the ground, moaning, calling out names of the people they think did this to them. Sometimes a few join up, and when they get all hard and crackly like old statues, they start to grow together. Start to feel each other's pain. Sometimes there's mountains of them, entire
landscapes of people crying about how unfair it all is. I'm still walking.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A mountain
fuck
of
yeah.
people's twisted stone bodies all screaming.
This is like a twisted take on Purgatory.
But where are you going?
I told you. The center. I'm getting close now. All the clouds with their screaming faces are curving. All curving and being pulled in the same direction. Twisting their way into the center.
Please just stop walking and come back.
Can't. No coming back. Besides, I have to keep moving like everyone else. Doing something weird. It's the quickest way for the walkers to notice you.
Oh God, what are the
What are
walkers?
the walkers? It's like, how could it get worse?
Started seeing them more as I got towards the center. They're all over the place now. They're these things. Walk around on 3 legs like stilts, covered in sharp black shell like thorns. Remember the aquarium? They're kinds like those urchins we saw at the aquarium. But the top part, the main part, it's more exact. Kinda arty. Like a sculptor designed the shape. Reminds me of some kind of chess piece. When they notice you, they come over you, toppling towards you, but never falling over on those long legs. Spindly. Yeah, that's what you'd say. They're spindly legs. And they stop right over you. You're just between their legs and you see the holes underneath their main bit. And the tendrils come out. Red, windy tendrils with these itchy hairs come down and they start curling and swinging all around you. You almost don't mind at first because they're red. You've been seeing nothing but gray and black for years, and the tendrils are red and it's beautiful, but then they touch you. They touch you and it's awful. Every bad thing you've ever felt, every bad thing that ever happens to you starts bubbling up to the surface, drowning you. All the pain that ever went into you rises up and out, and the walkers feed on it. They lick it with their tendrils. They love the taste of all things that shouldn't have happened. They love to taste the misery. Eventually they get full and move on, and you get up and keep walking.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. Jesus, Dennis, Jesus.
It's fine. They're bad, but
It's fine. They're bad, but you get a sense of perspective here. Sure, they're scary for you, but they're nothing next to the center. They're bottom feeders, moss that grew on the outskirts. If they're really like sea urchins, then the center must be like a shark, or a whale, or some huge thing right at the bottom of the sea that's too big to come up near the surface.
You've never said things like this before.
I don't know how to describe it. When you're here, stuff just breaks down a little, and you don't always need to have learned a word to know it. This place is less obsessed with causes and 2 + 2 equaling 4. Its job isn't to make sense.
But what is its job?
I don't know. Maybe I'll find out at the center.
He went quiet again, and this time I wasn't sure I wanted to stop him drifting off. I wasn't sure I wanted to hear any more of this, But regardless of what I wanted, another groan soon creeped out of his mouth and he was back.
Shit. Shit, I see it now. The center.
His hands began to close, slowly but inevitably around mine, overcoming the rigor mortis to press in on my fingers like an iron vice. I kept trying to get out, almost yanking off the table, but I couldn't even budge inside the agonizing grip.
How I felt when I was a kid in Halloween and they had those candy bowls with the hand that would come down on you when you go to grab the candy.
I'll never get free!
It's inside. Inside this huge thing like a beehive floating above the ground. It's gray too. Gray and covered with streaks and ridges like it was used to be liquid and hardened. Or it's like made of web or something. So big, Harry. I've never seen anything like it. All the clouds are swirling down into the hole at the top of it, still screaming. Hundreds of holes. Messy, ragged holes, pitch black on the inside. It's bigger than cities, Harry, and everyone's heading towards it. Thousands and thousands swarming under it, pushing against each other to climb the bridges. Messy bridges from the ground right up to the holes, right into the pitch black. The center's in there, Harry. I'm here.
Please, I said, whimpering with the pain in my hand. You can't go in. There's nothing good in that place. I knew this as a fact, not just because of the description, but as a gut feeling. I knew that what he was talking about was real and fundamental, as important a part of our existence as the sun and the moon, and birth, but bad somehow, dripping with wrongness to its core.
Where else is there to go? I'm at one of the bridges.
Please, you can come back.
No. That'd be like going back into the womb. Can't be done. This is what's next. Oh.
Junji Ito said it can be done, actually. So, what? Why?
Oh, God. I'm starting to feel something. I think the center's doing it. I'm getting bitter. Every mean, spiteful, everything angry thing in me. It's swelling, spreading out and smothering the rest of me. I'm so mad, Harry. I'm getting so much smaller and my hate is getting so much bigger.
His hand tightened and I screamed.
Oh, Jesus.
Why was it me? Why was it me and not you? What did you do that I didn't? What did I do that you didn't?
I'm sorry, I said, fully in tears. His voice had changed. It was still quiet, but it was rabid. Each word growled and soaked with vitriol.
Bro, my music stopped. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Alright, I'm back. I hate you. Do you know that? Still able to stand. Still able to run. Still able to breathe. I fucking hate you. I was hurting all the time, and you just stood there feeling sorry for me. You couldn't feel any of it, just waiting to see me die so you could fuck off and do everything I never would.
I was yelling and screaming for someone to come in and help. I'd almost pulled Dennis off the table, his torso hanging over the side, held straight by whatever force was allowing him to squeeze my hand. In all this, his eyes were still as dead as they'd always been. And then we went limp. His hand let go. His back sagged and he crashed to the floor. He'd broken 3 of my fingers, but shock was keeping it distant. I threw myself down onto my knees to see his face, slapping it and looking for any sign he was still there. He gasped again, fainter than ever now.
Oh no. Oh Jesus. I'm inside, and it's so much worse than I thought. And it's beyond worse. It's so far past the worst I thought something could be.
Please, Dennis, listen. Please tell me what's happening.
It's the center. It's so big, big, and floating above me. It's so much bigger than the hive. So much bigger than what it's inside. The whole inside is so much bigger. It's so big. It's gray too. Always gray. Gray and cracked like stone all over endless miles of it.
His voice had changed. It was whiny and small and afraid.
It's hurting me, Harry. It's hurting me more than I've ever been hurt. Ted hasn't even noticed me.
Please, the man told me you need to describe it. He said if you kept talking, you might stay.
So big.
He said, his voice wobbling and breaking like he was crying.
Its fingers are bigger than skyscrapers. And it has so many fingers. Millions and ribs. The body is all ribs. Or are they just fingers all folded up? I don't know. But there's so many and so big, Harry. And the masks? Jesus, the masks?
What masks?
The masks. Its face is bigger than countries, all different. Some of the eyes are perfect circles. Others have huge pointy holes where the mouths should be. Some are blank, and some have 8 eye holes, and some look like human faces. Like perfect human faces with deep, dark, hollow eyes. All of them. The inside of all of them is so dark. A living dark. A pulsing dark. Pulsing all together. And it's so huge. So huge, and you can feel it pressing in on you. Filling the air with badness and crushing down on you. And from inside, you can feel the bad in you reaching out to it. Out to it like a baby reaching out for its mom. And Jesus Christ, Harry.
He was breathing in and out faster and faster, shallow, scared breaths, instincts overcoming the fact that he didn't need air.
It's not the devil. No. That's what I
What?
thought. What?
Dennis, talk to me. What is it?
Sorry.
What is it? I thought you were just making a joke, but that is the line.
It's not the devil. Oh. That's what I thought.
I didn't think it was until you said that.
But it's not. It's more like God. It's like if God hated everything.
Like the devil. His breathing hiked up again.
Oh, Jesus. It sees me. Please, please, promise me one thing, just please.
What is it?
Please don't ever die.
That's a hell of a dying wish you just asked there. One last breath rolled out of his mouth. I tried everything to get him back, everything I could think of in an animalistic burst of desperate energy. I hit him. I shook him, pleaded, but he was really gone this time. I knelt there in the room for a while, his last words carving into a deep part of my mind I knew I could never dig them out of. The next few hours, in fact the next few days, were kind of a blur. I remember men in the Institute's white scrubs coming in and dragging me away from the body. I remember getting my hand seen to and put in a cast and sling. I remember Daniel Cones sitting me down in a bright white room and interrogating me. He called it a conversation, but it was an interrogation. A warm interrogation by a man who could be kind if it meant getting what he wanted. He asked me if I'd had any visions or any strong sensations. If I thought Dennis was telling the truth, and if I could explain the ways in which Dennis was acting differently than he already was. I was detached and drowsy from exhaustion and trauma and pain from my hand and just answered honestly. At the end, Cohen's made me memorize a phone number and sign a load of confidentiality forms, making it very clear that not a word of this could leave the hospital. I was to call if I started experiencing any phenomena I thought were related to Dennis. My Dennis, and finally, they left. My parents and I took a taxi home. We didn't talk about what had happened after Dennis died, and I suppose that even that was the secondary add-on to the simple fact that Dennis was now properly dead and not coming back. We went home, got to bed, and the next morning we had an a wordless breakfast with an extra chair pulled out. Ugh.
Yikes.
The years flew by, and the whole experience became something I just had to live with. Some dreaded thing my thoughts would sometimes steer me back to, but mostly I managed to keep living, to accept it all as something I couldn't understand. The fact that Dennis was gone was always worse than the way he went, however terrifying and unnatural it was. But lately, I've been having a dream. It started off vague and incomplete, but every few nights it repeated, getting longer and more vivid. It always starts the same, with me and Dennis, both of us kids again, on a green hill on a bright, clear day, crisp air sighing past us. I can't remember most of the words, but the gist is that he's bragging, showing off, saying that Dad loves him more, that he's better than me, that he's going to keep being better for as long as he's alive. He's going to keep making Dad love him more for as long as he's able. And I get so mad. Way madder than I'd ever have gotten if he said those things in real life. I see a rock, and without thinking, I pick it up and attack him with it, knocking him over and beating him again and again until his skin was swollen and torn, and you would see parts of his skull underneath. He managed to push me off and run, and I followed, never thinking twice about it. I chase him so far until finally he runs into a pass between two mountains in a long dark range that I somehow never see until that point. The range extends to either side seemingly forever, and the sky above it is saturated with heavy dark clouds. It's like Mordor or something. Didn't need that. I always stop running at this point, knowing that I've chased him far enough. The job is done. I start to leave my body, surging forward down the pass. No longer myself, just a nameless, thoughtless observer, gliding like a ghost for lack of legs. He runs down the dark pass, on and on into a sunless, barren country on the other side, a place where the soil is gray and dry. He runs for ages, but soon he stops and falls and curses me, screams about how much he hates me and how much I accost him by driving him into this place. He rages for a long time. Then a second person comes. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman, sometimes old, sometimes young. They say they too were driven past the mountains, or that they wandered past them by mistake and can't get back over. Dennis always says the same thing. Then let's suffer together. Let's hurt together. And this person always latched onto Dennis, and Dennis latches back, and they scream or cry and say they want to see people who wronged them skinned alive. And more always come. A trickle at first, then a flood, latching onto Dennis and the first person, all of them clapping together and piling up into a giant, deafening mass of squirming bodies, and eventually it's huge, almost up to the clouds. And then there's a rumbling, a massive shifting sound. The countless bodies start to rearrange, forming deep canyons of flesh that make up a horrendous, rage-filled outline of a face. There's a shift greater than any earthquake the pile moves, rolling forward, pulling itself with enormous appendages made of the miserable and the bitter and the despairing. It inches and tumbles on, crashing down and dragging itself onward with the overwhelming apocalyptic sounds, and then I see that it's heading for the mountain range. It's heading back to the bright place with all its anger and hate and vengeances, and as much as it's made of millions and millions of people, I always know it's still one thing. One thing with one will, but all the hatreds of everyone buried in it, all the way back to the first one. The first one to curse, his rage still in there, rage directed at the first one to sin. It gets right up to the mountains. Then I wake up. I think something's coming, something that got started a long time ago. Something that strips away good and builds itself on the bad, and I think it's almost strong enough to set out, to start moving. And I think when it gets here, the living will be no better off than the dead.
Damn.
All right.
Okay.
That's My Brother Died When I Was a Child. He kept talking. I think people should know what he said. That was
good.
Mostly really good.
Yeah, I liked it. I had fun.
It's
There's a lot
so
wrong
frustrating because it's so close though.
Yeah.
That's what's hard.
It's like
A lot of the writing is really good and it does interesting things.
I think the Cones bit pulled me out of it a bit harder than it would have if it wasn't so obvious how fucking easily unavoidable that was. As far as the exposition and stuff, where it's like, just get rid of that. Just
I
get
mean, it
rid of
didn't pay
all of
off
that.
either.
No,
Like,
it didn't. He just disappeared.
The interview happened off the page.
It was entirely useless. And then like, I honestly, this ending though, apart from the little Mordor segment, was my like the dream sequence is really cool. I really like short stories that allude to something far bigger, or like a future threat that
it's a cosmic horror in its own right
that you're never gonna get any answers on whatsoever. So like, I'm curious, like the line where it's like, all the way back to the first one to curse, his rage still in there, rage directed at the first one to sin.
That makes me think of Cain and Abel in the Bible.
Yeah.
That, like, maybe it's not trying to go that directly, but I think that's an interesting thought of the first sin between brothers, specifically. A brother. That's actually probably on purpose, beating to death with a rock.
Yeah, no,
that's the whole
I
dream.
think it is on purpose, because I was in my head, and initially I was like, oh, Satan, like first one to curse. The first one to curse. But then I was like, rage directed at the first one to sin. And I was like, oh, this is probably some like eldritch horror that has like some sort of sibling dynamic, which would parallel well with his experience with his own brother.
The read I have on it is that it is the eldritch cosmic entity of it is a pure personification of the rage of the betrayed.
Yeah.
Which I do think is interesting. If you don't put like a consciousness behind it, it goes beyond the consciousnesses of all of the individuals that make it up.
Right.
To form a conglomerate that is pure emotion and force.
Right.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I like it a lot. I think that, yeah, apart from a few blips, this was I would give this a solid 7.
I don't know if I want to rate it, just because like it's so much of it is so good, and there's just these couple of pieces that just don't fit. It feels like the cone section at the start. It feels like that was like written during another writing session from the rest of the story, and then when he actually got started writing the like what Dennis is saying, he realized, oh, this is what the story should be, and went with it and did a really good job.
Yeah, and I think that, yeah, I think he ended up, the transition was bumpy, but he was able to pull it off, because like ultimately I was hoping for a very lonely sort of experience. I think that stories like this do better when you don't understand what's happening and you don't get answers. And so
I think the ending pays off more if you don't have it set up of like, this is happening to a bunch of people already.
Yeah. So, yeah, very cool.
But it is really good, and I would be really interested to look at The Emperor's Finest more and see if there's any more stories that we could cover in the future, potentially.
Definitely, what's the word? Peruse them, scan them, see what's going on.
That is one of his later stories, it looks like.
Gotcha.
But there is one from 10 years ago, 2016, called I Adopted a Severely Abused Child. He Didn't Come Alone.
Oh, God.
That's interesting.
That sounds fucking horrible.
So maybe we'll come back to that.
Maybe. I'd be down.
For now, thanks anyone for watching. We're going to keep reading horror stories, and it's going to keep being a fun time.
Yeah. Remember to like,
see y'all
comment, subscribe. You know, go ahead and leave.
Shill.
What did you think?
Ugh.
What did you think of the story? Did it freak you out? Are you potentially a twin? Did you feel anything unique from having been a twin in reading this story? Let us know.
Yeah, let's hear from all the twins in the comments. What's up?
Yo, shout out to my twins. All
but for real though, actually, I am curious what people would think of this
Male,
story.
female?
It is an interesting one.
It was pretty cool. All right, well. Bye.